Well, I'm here with our current chair, Marianela del Pino-Rivera, and our incoming chair, Mike Manspeaker, who's a partner at SEK out in Hagerstown. And so first of all, welcome and thank you guys for being here.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Appreciate it.
So today is significant because it's the official last day of our fiscal year as the association. So Marianela, this is the official handing over the reins to
right.
Michael.
Yes. And I'm very happy to do that. We are in very good hands with Mike, and I mean that in a very good way. He's going to continue to advance all of the goals and lofty initiatives of MACPA.
So it's funny. So that's what I want to talk about, is because I kind of want to share your perspectives with our members and kind of the world at large about like how we do this at the association, if you will. So I want to start with just maybe some reflection. So as you think back to this year, what were you thinking about coming into it? What's kind of the highlights, some of the things that you thought were really important, and just kind of give us your reflections on what happened.
Well, I was pretty scared coming into this year because, you know, it is a very important position to be chair of the board. But the association does a really good job of supporting us and training us and really preparing us for the issues at hand. So I was very grateful for that. And the year went by fast, but then when I look back at all of the things that were accomplished, it's just amazing. I mean, the move to this office, yeah, which was incredible, and just making the shift change that we all speak about, that you always are talking about, which is very important and very crucial, and that's continuing staff development, handling all the different initiatives that are going on, thought leaders becoming anticipatory with Dan Burris, that was huge. The Women to Watch, that was a new event, which was a stellar sellout and just a great event. And I just, you know, volunteered at the Student Leadership Academy for the first time.
This past weekend.
Yep, and it was a great event.
So as you, let's stick on that, because when you came in, one of the things you've been passionate about has been students and young professionals.
Correct.
And you sat in with our young professionals when they did their planning session, and you just finished up Student Leadership Academy. You've done a bunch of college visits, but talk about, like, what's your impression of the students and what we're doing with them in that? Tell the group why is it important? Why does it make a difference?
Well, to me, it's very important, and to the profession, it's very important, because these are our future CPAs. This is our talent pool. So we need to be in front of them, and we need to educate them about the value and the importance of the CPA, because, okay, they're studying accounting, but we need to take them to the next level, and they may not really be aware of the value of the CPA. Yep. And the statistics show that we're losing them. We're not, and you know, they're not going through to take the CPA exam. So we need to let them know, and especially in the minority communities, they may not have any. They may not even know a CPA. Yeah. So it's important for us to be there and to make sure that they understand that value proposition of the CPA. Yeah. And they're so great. I mean, it's just so much fun to be with them, and you know, I would encourage all of our members to volunteer and get involved with outreach to students. Yeah. And then our Niven folks, our new young professionals, are also, I mean, the talent that we have in that group is just amazing, and the energy and the passion that they have. And we've been able to, you know, we're trying to you know, connect with them a little bit more at the from a management level, and to make them feel included and relevant to the leadership of MACPA. Yeah. So that's been a lot of fun as well.
So any other like memorable events from your perspective as chair? Like, what was different than what you thought maybe when you were coming into this?
Well, it's different when you're at an event as a participant, and when you're in an event, when like you have to say some words or something like that, but just preparing for that and just seeing, you know, how many members we actually outreach to and connect with, and you know, we're helping them to become more technology savvy and just to take them to the next level, and that was really very significant. You know, I saw how the association is working towards that, and hopefully
That's neat.
becoming very effective at doing that.
That's what we're trying. I mean, it's funny. So at our last round of town halls and our summit, we've been asking a question that was in a national poll: how future ready are you? And the national statistics as CPAs self evaluation is 8% of them are future ready, meaning aware of future trends and what they might mean to their clients and to their firms and companies, et cetera. So our most recent stat at the summit was actually 12.5%. And in our town halls pushing up to 13.5 to 14%. So we're kind of claiming that somehow we're influencing our members to the point that they're 50% more future ready than maybe other state societies or other groups. So that is one of our aspirations, I think, as a group and as a board. We've done that. So Michael, now you've been on the board. You're getting ready to come in as chair, right? So as of tomorrow,
Right.
You'll be the new chair. Give us your perspective. So what are you looking forward to? And tell a little bit about like how does this all come together? Like how did we get to the point where we have an agenda and we set all this stuff?
Well, you know, someone asked me if I had an agenda or a particular passion, and honestly, I've spent my whole career in a fairly technical area as an auditor and a peer reviewer, and been involved in that aspect of the profession, both from my practice and also my volunteer activities, because you know, I've been on the Auditing Standards Board and the Peer Review Committee, chaired the Maryland Peer Review Committee, and you know, I've always been involved, but from a technical point of view. And you know, ironically, there's some technical issues related to audit quality that just happen to be coming up. But you know, being on the board and kind of seeing the broader perspective of MACPA activities gives me a real appreciation for what the value that the MACPA brings to its members. I think that a lot of members don't even become aware of an issue facing the profession until something's been addressed. But the MACPA actually is looking out to the future, and the MACPA is taking action and creating initiatives that try to address these issues for the benefit of the profession and the members. And so, you know, there always seems to be just a phenomenal number of issues on our plate. And Marianela just, you know, kind of ran through a whole laundry list of things. But, you know, just keeping your finger on the pulse of the profession and making sure that we're out in front and leading the way to, you know, protect the CPA brand, make the profession better, gives us a more than an ample list of things to be addressing. And then on top of that, you know, there's just the changing way that the state societies and associations have to function. And so the board's been very active in terms of kind of reimagining what the association looks like and making sure that the MACPA is strong and healthy and, you know, being future ready.
Sustainable,
so
right? Yeah.
It's been a great involvement so far. I've really enjoyed, you know, being involved in all those things, helping to advance the agenda and the issues on behalf of the MACPA. I thoroughly enjoyed working with just high quality professionals like Marianela, and she's done a phenomenal job as chair. And as we move forward, we're gonna be facing a lot of issues, including the audit quality issues that have come to the forefront here just very recently, and will continue, I'm sure, to be out front of the profession.
So I think, it's funny, you guys have both mentioned a little bit, but, I'm sure our average member, viewer probably has no idea. So do we just, when you set these agendas, like with a nonprofit like this, so is it really like, Marianela, you and I go off one day and have a few drinks and then go, here's our agenda for this year, and, Mike, we're at a meeting, we go, oh yeah, here's what we're going to do for the next year. Give them some insight into just how does that work? And our board of directors, management team, all that. What would you guys say to that point?
Board planning. Okay. We spent, what did we spend, like 2 days almost
2 days.
on board planning, where we talk about where we've been, where we're going to go, and how we're going to get there. And I know that in my board planning session, we included the whole staff of MACPA to come together, because it was that important that everyone had an opportunity to discuss and to plan for the future. So it's a very intentional, inclusive, and collaborative process. There is no one out there
dictating the
no
agenda.
No.
What was your perspective on all that?
I think that it really starts with the involvement in the profession. The executive committee of the MACPA attends all the CPA council meetings. We hear firsthand the issues that are going on. The MACPA associates with and collaborates with some national thought leaders in the profession, like Dan Burris and Rita McGrath and others. So we come into the planning process armed with a real understanding of what are the issues out there that are, CPAs are facing today, but maybe even more important, the things that are on the horizon. So we go into these planning sessions very deliberately with a very strong understanding of, what we're facing and what kind of issues, and it's being continually updated so that, we're kind of just modifying that agenda as we move forward and tweaking it where it needs tweaked, and it's a very well thought out process just to develop the agenda. And then I think the out of the planning sessions, we've had a lot of follow through. We've had just a great plan on how to implement these strategies, and so it's a process that the full board's involved in. As Marianela said, the entire staff of the MACPA is involved in. There's a tremendous amount of collaboration, and it's just a continually updated process.
Cool. Well, and it's by design, but the answer is, you're right. We want we believe we is always smarter than me, and having a set of brains, 12 professionals on our board, one public member, right, who's now the chair of the Maryland Chamber of Commerce, just to have that brain power in a room, we try to use that room. So we hope that, it's not a rubber stamp board. You guys have changed direction. You've had debates. We've had really good thought process, and that's the power. I think that's part of our secret sauce. And then same with our staff. We involve them, and we want their ideas. So when you mesh those two in like a big mashup, it's a good formula. And then I think, to your point, Mike, our goal right now is to really make this a sustainable business model. As we've made the shift change and are in the middle of making it, that's a really big focus. So I think the other part is worth noting is, Marianela, your year, in addition to all those profession-wide things that we did, we took your year to really dive deep into our infrastructure, which was really the fundamentals in terms of our shift change. So our systems and processes and computer and all that in the office that we moved in. So it's not always that a volunteer board or even chair wants to even get involved in that, because they typically, it's not like sexy, it's not like a big event everyone's going to look at and all that. How do you feel about that? Like, what made you decide, I want to help really move that. I mean, that became our main focal point, which thank God we did. But
Well,
what's your insight into that?
I still remember our conversation in LA, and it was just, this is what needs to be done for the organization to get to the next level. It's, the infrastructure, the physical space is holding us back. So the decision, the board made the decision to, gave you the authority or whatever,
Right.
the
Authority and the budget to
the
do
budget to go forward.
Yeah.
So it was scary, but again, like Mike said, it was all well thought out, well planned, well executed, which to me, the execution part is huge with MACPA. So many other organizations or clients even that I'm involved with, they're great at coming up with great ideas, and we're going to do this and we're going to do that. But MACPA comes up with the great ideas and then executes, and that to me is a point of excellence in the organization.
That's certainly great to hear from you from that standpoint. And Mike, so the other part we've talked about is, and I keep saying it, so maybe it'll become true at some point. But I keep telling you guys, I know, and we laugh about it. But I always believe we get the right chair of the association at the right time. Like, it just seems that in our history, the chair seems to be there when these weird issues fly in. Because we don't know all the issues you're going to face. We tell you that in the beginning. We have no idea. So Marianela, you come in certainly with passion about students and young professionals, but also about diversity and inclusion and women to watch. And then this is the year that Kimberly Ellison Taylor, one of our past chairs, will be the first black chair of the Institute ever, not to mention black woman chair, and she was groomed in our Young Professionals Network. That's kind of neat, right?
That is huge. And when you look at our board, you will, everyone talks about diversity, but again, MACPA executes diversity and just does. We don't even, talk about it that much,
right,
because it's just part of the DNA. So diversity in terms of age, in terms of gender, in terms of ethnicity, etc. And what happens is when you do that, you get a really good thought process involved.
Yeah.
So, that's another one of the strengths of MACPA. It's kind of we walk the walk.
Yeah.
And model the behavior.
And it was done not with like big initiative notion. It was just done as it's a good thing to do. And now
Smart thing, yeah.
reaping the benefit of, you're right, the idea of different perspectives and all the diversity, how you work as CPAs, where you live in the state of Maryland, right? And in addition to all, it does make a difference, I think, from that standpoint. And then, so then Mike comes on, technical background, been active with us forever in that technical area, but audit quality, which is your passion, is blowing up right now with our Department of Labor issue and all the things we have to do with the state board. Talk a little bit about that. Like,
right. Well, and of course the Department of Labor started, but it's been brewing, frankly, in the background. And we've got PCOB, we've got a lot of government-related organizations now that are weighing in on audit quality. And of course, the reaction from the American Institute of CPAs has been, pretty intense in terms of, their 6-point plan to achieve audit quality, improve audit quality, and there have been a couple of proposals related to changing the peer review or practice monitoring process, which, by the way, the MACPA created a task force and has weighed in, tried to get out in front of that and offer our opinions. And I'm really pleased with the group that did that and the responses they came up with. But it's a huge issue, and whether you're an auditor or not, I think your reputation as a CPA is at stake here. So it's something that we want to make sure that we're focused on, that we're helping our members overcome any sort of obstacles that might be in the way. We want to make sure that we're promoting audit quality and professionalism in the audit and assurance space. And in order to do that, it's going to take a lot of effort, a lot of work. I think we've got a tremendous peer review committee, a very dedicated group of people. We're very lucky. They're phenomenal, and they certainly have been trying to do their part. But we're going to be facing a lot of proposed changes as a result of this whole audit quality issue coming to the forefront. So we're going to need to stay out in front of that. We're going to need to make sure that we kind of help guide those changes in the right direction so that they're effective and not overly burdensome. I think what we've seen is that when a reaction comes from the government, it tends to be an overreaction. And we talk all the time about the pendulum swinging way too far the other side, and then it takes a few years for it to come back to reach an appropriate level. I think we have a chance as part of the profession to take a leadership role and to help make sure we get the right answers. To really move quality and make sure that the CPA brand is respected. It continues to be respected.
Yeah. So that fits two other areas. I mean, obviously you came on board and you were instrumental in helping us this year with the definition of ad test, which we enacted. But I don't know if you can even put yourself in this spot, but what would you tell our members about legislative and advocacy, state board, state of Maryland, et cetera, that you didn't know before you got into these roles and why it's important? What would you say to them?
Well, I've been going to CPA Day for quite a number of years, and one of the things, well, first I learned how our government works in Annapolis, basically. I had no idea even that the session was only a few months long at the time, but what you begin to develop relationships because you're showing up every year and you're showing up with good information and an informative package. So you really do get to, you really get respect after a while. And the MACPA does a great job of preparing us and helping us to be effective in Annapolis. But it's a huge initiative of the association, and it's so important. And many people don't really realize how much work goes into it, but the fact that we don't have these crazy regulations being passed, like sales tax on accounting services for one, I mean, that, and why is it, why do we not have to worry about it? Because of all the work that the association does on that behalf. And we have a great team in place that executes, again,
and
that
a lot of
initiative.
volunteers.
And a lot of volunteers. Yep.
Mike, how about you? Okay.
I've been involved in a couple of real key legislative initiatives like peer review, when we finally were able to restrict all assurance engagements to just to CPAs, and then with the change in definition of ad test because of the way our standards are changing, and our statute was lined up with standards. So as standards changed, there were things that kind of fell outside the realm of CPAs. I would say just to expand on what Marianela said about how the association and a lot of volunteers have kind of built this credibility in Annapolis. It's really critical. And when you actually get involved in a very specific case and you start reading the statutes and see just how screwy some of those provisions can get. We've actually been able to go in because of all that hard work and credibility. We've been able to go in and say, this actually just needs to be changed. This can't really mean what you intended it to mean. And they would turn around, come back to us and say, well, can you just suggest some language? And so we've been actually able to, kind of play off of that credibility and all those contacts and make some meaningful changes and really protect members' interests and, protect the profession.
And we bring a lot, we bring a lot of expertise in that we're working with small businesses, and many times, they will come to us for, on some other issues unrelated. Right. So that helps to strengthen that bond. So we're a valuable resource for them as well.
Now, so all right, how's the MACPA viewed nationally? Other states around the profession? What would you say to that?
Well, I will relate something that happened last fall in October of 14 in Boston at an AICPA council meeting. Someone who I didn't know from Adam came up behind me and said, "Boy, are you lucky?" And I said, "Excuse me?" And they said, "Oh, you're coming in as the incoming chair of MACPA. MACPA is the best association in the country." Wow. And it was just a validation. And this person ended up, I think, was from Colorado or somewhere out in the West. Mm-hmm. Just a validation for me of how the work of the MACPA has been viewed nationally, and it's certainly a huge responsibility to step into a leadership role, filling big shoes, following someone who's done a phenomenal job, like Marianela's done. But at the same time, it's a real honor just to be associated and to have the opportunity to kind of play off of the reputation that the MACPA has to really try to make a difference.
How about you, Marianela? What was your...
Well, when I started going to the AICPA national meetings, which are attended by all the other state societies, and whenever they would ask, so where are you from? And from Maryland. They were like, "Oh, you're from Maryland." Yeah, there was that look of respect and awe. And the other thing is that our association works well within itself and works, very collaboratively with everyone. And that isn't the case in a lot of other state societies, we learned, just from some of the conversations. So that's really important, that we have a solid, cohesive team that works well together. It just eliminates a lot of unnecessary time and effort that has to be expended.
That's true. And again, we believe we don't have it all figured out. We know that we need the wisdom of the crowd. So between what we do with our board and our staff, but how we work with external partners, right? And I think that's the key to staying future ready, I think, is collaboration. And that's something obviously we care about. It's one of our core values. So what else would you want to tell our members? Like, what would be your nugget about why we matter or why they should care? What would you say to that?
Well, we, as a sole practitioner, it's very hard to be aware of issues that are happening in the profession that are and just in the general business world that are relevant to my clients, and for me to be able to be the best that I can be for them, to service my clients better. And MACPA is just such a resource for me to be a better CPA and to be able to do quality work for my clients. So it's invaluable. And also it's a community that I belong to, other than an association. It's a community of colleagues, which is very important when you're a sole practitioner. So there is a lot of ways that I can collaborate with my peers that are facilitated by MACPA. So to me, and from the day that I became a CPA, I became a member of MACPA there, and I haven't regretted it for one day.
That's cool. We need more like you. Mike, how about you?
Well, every volunteer opportunity I've ever had in the profession. I've learned so much from, and I couldn't agree more with Marianela. I mean, you learn so much about the profession and what's going on, but I also think that I've learned from my association with the MACPA just a lot of general business issues that I'm able to take back to clients and talk to them about. This is really how you should structure your board. This is would be a good strategic process for you to go through, and I've been able to use a lot of those wisdoms in helping clients be better businesses. And so it's from a technical point of view, from just a general business point of view, not to mention the relationships, which I think are huge, and the relationships it makes it all worth it, really does.
Very cool. Anything else you want to tell our members as you move into the past chair role or as you get into the chair role?
I would just say to the members to become active, become a volunteer at MACPA, because as Mike said, you're going to learn a lot, and you're going to probably, I guarantee that you will get more than you're giving if you become a volunteer.
Cool.
Well, I guess I would just say that I have every confidence it's going to be a successful year, not because of me, but just because of the entire organization. I think the MACPA is on a great trajectory, moving forward, doing the right things, and that's going to continue. But certainly, if there's anything at all that I could do for the membership, I would ask them to reach out to me, because I think that we are here to serve the membership and the profession. And so if you have an idea, you want to add your input, please do.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for sharing this time with us.
Thank you.